Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I cannot believe that this is episode 6 of the Maddie's Makings podcast. If you're new here, I started this podcast in January of 2024, so January of this year, and I post the first Monday of every month, and I just kind of show a recap of everything that I'm currently working on and everything that I finished in the last month. So today it is currently June 2nd. And I have so many finished objects and works in progress to show you. May was a very busy knitting month. I have a ton of things that I finished, and I also started a bunch of things, so lots to share today. Before I get started, I just wanted to mention you can check out my Instagram, which I'll have linked down below. I post over there. Well, I post on my stories pretty much every day. I'm trying to post on the main feed a few times a week, and I post as I get my finished objects done. I'll post them over there. But yeah, so grab something hot, your drink of choice. Today I'm having a chai tea latte from Starbucks. I have my lipstick all over the lid, but it is very good on this rainy day. It has been raining the past 2 days, so I have gotten quite a bit of knitting done. So yes, without further ado, let's just jump right into it. We'll start with finished objects. Alright, so my first finished object I didn't actually write down, so hopefully I remember all of the details about it, but these are the pink socks that I was working on in the last episode that I filmed. I believe I was just past the heel on the second sock. So these are the Bernat socks in the shade, I want to say pink camouflage. Like I mentioned in my last video, I could not find the link to link below. I haven't been able to find it anywhere. I got it at a craft store out in, I believe it was out in Trinity. I got a few different colors, another color of it you'll see here. But yeah, I finished these socks after, so I knit these on 2.25 millimeter 9-inch circulars, and I did 64 stitches. I did knit 2, purl 2, 20 rounds for the cuff, 60 rounds for the leg, slip stitch heel flap, 50, I think it was 50 rounds for the foot, and then the toe. And yeah, so I finally got these finished, which is good to get out of the way because I think I showed them on my last 2 podcasts because I started them in like February or something like that. And I also just wanted to mention that I followed the vanilla sock pattern by the Crazy Sock Lady and did the size medium. So I will have that pattern linked below. Alright, my next finished object is another Bernat Socks yarn, and this is in the shade Wooded Denim. And I knit these. They look a little wonky, so I did these a little bit different than I normally do. So I knit these for an order, and they're for somebody's birthday. So I decided to do knit 2, purl 2, rib, because I find, especially when I'm making socks for other people and when they can't get the foot measurements, I find it's better to do knit 2, purl 2 because it does give a lot of stretch, and it'll especially give a lot of stretch in the foot. So I did knit 2, purl 2. I did 60 rounds in total. Then I did the slip stitch heel flap, and then I did knit 2, purl 2 across the top, and then just plain stockinette on the bottom. Now these I kind of not made up my own pattern, but I didn't follow one specific size. So I cast on 64 stitches because with this yarn I cast on 72 stitches to start, and it was like super duper long. So I was like, well, it's gonna stretch more. I don't want it to be like ginormous in the leg. So I did 64 stitches for the leg. And then when I did my heel flap, so if you follow the slip stitch heel flap, if you cast on 64 stitches, you will do 32 rows for the heel. So instead what I did was 36 rows for the heel. And then when I did my gusset, instead of decreasing down to 36 stitches on my back needle, or 32 stitches on my back needle. I decreased until I had 36 stitches, and then I had 32 on the front. So it gave me, I think it was, I can't do that math in my head, but I had 32 stitches on the front, 36 on the back, and then when I did the toe on my last patterned round, I just decreased down to 32, and then I did the toe the same as I would if it was for a size medium, if that makes sense. But yeah, so that's how I did these. These are supposed to fit an 8.5 men's foot. They look, I haven't washed them yet, but let me know what you think. When I measured it's measuring the correct length from Google. So I'm just gonna really try and make sure that they stretch, because I'm a little hesitant, but I also didn't want to make it too long. So I think they should fit. I wear a size 6 in women, and when I try it on, my foot is to like right here. So I'm hoping it will fit. And yeah, I did these on 2.25 millimeter 32-inch circulars, and I did the magic loop method, and I followed, not the vanilla sock pattern, but yeah, I did knit 2, purl 2, rib. So that's those. I think that's all I had to say about those. Yes, so that's all I had to say about those, and I just wanted to mention, hi Wally, my dog just came down. I just wanted to mention that the Bernat Socks is a 60% acrylic, 40% nylon blend. Yeah. Okay, so that was those. Okay, and keeping with the sock theme, I finished another pair. I think I was working on these in the last episode, but these are a pair of socks I made for my mom to give to her friend. So these are the Cape Spear Sunrays from Windswept Fibers. I'm absolutely obsessed with this colorway, and this is on her Paradise Silk sock base. It's a 50% silk, 50% non-superwash merino blend. You might hear my dog in the background. He is determined to jump on all of the chairs and couches that we have down here. So 50% silk, 50% non-superwash merino. It feels so soft. These I knit a size, I don't even remember. I think I did 72 stitches, so a size large. I followed the vanilla sock pattern by the Crazy Sock Lady. I knit these on 2.25 millimeter 9-inch circulars. I did 25 rounds of knit 2, purl 2 for the cuff, 60 rounds for the leg, and then 65 rounds for the foot, and slip stitch heel flat. So that is these ones. I'm absolutely obsessed. Like, look how nice these colors are. Also, I'm extremely sorry if you can hear this chair like crunching or squeaking. I put a blanket down, so hopefully when I move in the chair, it's not being as loud. I noticed it in my last video and it was driving me crazy. I don't know if it was driving anybody else crazy, so I apologize for that. I'm really trying to stay as still as I can in this chair, but yeah, that's all I can do. Okay, so my next finished object is my Avena sweater. I finished it. I did. Let me hold it up so it actually looks like a sweater. It looks so good. I unfortunately have to report that it is a little bit tight, so I still have to block it. I finished it up last night, and I wanted to show it in my podcast today, so I didn't block it last night. I tried it on. It does fit, however, it is a little snug around the armpits and in the arms, but the overall fit and length I'm in love with. I didn't have a picture, but you can go follow me on Instagram, and when I get it blocked, I will try it on and show pictures over there. As you can see, I haven't sewed in any of the ends yet, just because when I make garments and sweaters, I like to block it before I weave in the ends, just in case like the yarn grows and stuff like that. So overall, I'm very happy with it. I actually really like this rolled neckline. I tried it on last night, and the neckline is sort of similar to the shirt I'm wearing now, although it is up a bit higher, but it's sort of straight across. So I actually am obsessed with it. and I tried it on. I think I mentioned in my last video and in the prior videos where I've talked about this, I was worried about the bunching where I did the color work up on top. But when I tried it on, it literally doesn't look like it bunched at all. Like, it just looks like one straight piece. So I'm very happy about that. The last podcast I filmed, I was where this trailer stitch marker is. So I finished that little bit, and then I did the 2 sleeves. And like I said, finished it last night. Very easy pattern. I actually have some wool here that I'm thinking of making this pattern again without doing the color work, just having like plain knitting up here, a plain sweater, because I like the shape of the neckline and the fit of it so much. I think I'm just going to go maybe up a needle size as well as up a size in the pattern. So I did the size small. I probably should, or small or extra small. Maybe it was extra small. It was supposed to fit a 32-inch bust with 4% positive ease, or however they do positive ease. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, so I think I'm going to go up a size just so it's not as snug. But overall, I'm extremely happy with it, and I'm hoping that when I block this, it's going to fix the tightness around the armpits. If not, I'm going to have to figure out how to fix it. But I think it'll be okay because I think this yarn is going to block out like very nicely. I think it will. So the yarn I used, yes, I did the size small. The yarn I used was Lion Brand Feels Like Heaven in the shade Pale Blue and then White. It is a bit lighter blue than it's showing up. Sorry. It's a bit lighter blue than it's showing up on camera. But yeah, and I knit these on 3.5mm needles, and this is the Avena sweater by Jennifer Steingass. I highly recommend this pattern. It's not difficult at all, even the color work up on top. It's not hard. If you're new to color work like I was, it's very simple, and I know you can do it. So yeah, I'm hoping to get this blocked either this evening or tomorrow, but I'm super glad to have that finished. And I'm ready to cast on the other sweater, which I'll talk about it more when I show you the yarn after, because I have a couple little yarn things that I want to talk about in the end. But yeah, so I'm ready to start that and have another sweater on the go just for, you know, relaxing knitting, and I'll touch on that after. Okay, my next finished objects, I actually have 3, and recently, I live in Newfoundland, and our local cancer clinic was running out of hats for the patients to wear. So they asked if people could knit up some hats to donate. So that's what I did. I have 3 done currently, and I'm working on another one, which I'll show you. But this is the first one I have done, and it's just a simple knit 1, purl 1 ribbed beanie, just something quick and simple to knit up, you know, very quickly. So this gray, I took it from my yarn stash. I'm not quite sure what it was called. I believe it was probably Loops and Threads or Lion Brand, and knowing Loops and Threads or Lion Brand, it was probably just called gray or light gray or gray heathered or something like that. So that's the first one I got finished. Then this one is the Lion Brand, Feels Like Heaven, the Lion Brand Heartland yarn in the shade Olympic, and I'm actually obsessed with how this color turned out. It's like a dark blue, but it has speckles of like light blue in it. And again, they're all the same pattern, knit 1, purl 1, rib, and I cast on 96 stitches. And then I have this yarn, which I can't remember what it was called. I took it from my stash again, and a little while ago I had a bad habit of removing all my labels, so now I don't know what half of my yarn is. But I got this yarn in my Christmas advent calendar that my aunt made me for Christmas. You can head over to my Instagram and check out. I vlogged every single day of December and showed myself opening my Christmas advents. But I'm just obsessed with this. I believe it was, oh, it is it's Patents Canadiana. I remember that much. It's Patents Canadiana, but I don't remember what the colorway was. It was like, I feel like it had something to do with Jamaica, but I don't really remember. But I love it. And for each of these, they only took, I think it was like 47 grams of like yarn. So they were 100-gram balls each. So I definitely have enough to make another of each color. Whether I'm going to do that, I'm not sure. I think I have one that I'm working on now, which I'll show you in a second. But I feel like I'm just going to donate these 4 because I know of a lot of people who have donated hats since they put the call out. And yeah, I just want to focus on something besides hats in the summertime. So it's definitely something I'm going to look back into in like the fall and the winter to make up some more hats to donate. But I think 4 is going to suffice for right now in the summer, and then we can pick it back up in the fall. Okay, and as I mentioned, I'm just going to quickly show a work in progress. I do have other finished objects, but this kind of goes with the hat. So while we're staying on the hat theme, I'm just doing the same pattern. I have this light blue color. This is Bernat Baby Soft in the shade Pale Blue, I believe. And I knit all of these hats on 5.5 millimeter needles, 96 stitches, and then it's just knit 1 purl, 1 rib. So yeah, it's very relaxing, and it's a nice thing too if you're just like watching TV or when I'm editing my vlogs to just pick it up and have something quick and easy to knit. But it is kind of thicker yarn, and you know, in the summertime, it's not great to take outside on a hot day and then your hands are sweating because you're knitting with this thick yarn. So like I said, hopefully pick it back up in the fall, but I'm going to finish this one and then donate those. Okay, my next finished object, I was so hoping to finish this last night and I did not have enough stuffing. It is my pillowcase that I've been making. I got it all finished knitting last night, and I ran out of stuffing before I had enough to fill it. So that was kind of disappointing, but I'm still considering it a finished object because I didn't want to have to wait and show it again in my next podcast. So in my last podcast, I think I knit from here, I knit the back. I didn't write down the details for this. I completely forgot about it, actually. So this was the Loops and Threads polyester yarn. I know I got it at Michael's when it was on clearance. I believe it's 100% polyester, and it's in the shade either lime green or neon green. Like I said, I haven't been able to find it. I think I've showed it in my last 2 podcasts, maybe. But I'm hoping to go out tomorrow and get more stuffing, and then I'll just have to sew the top across. So the way I knit this was I cast on 4 stitches. I didn't follow a pattern. Cast on 4 stitches, and I knit increasing, kind of like I knit the dishcloths. So I increased 1 stitch at the beginning of every row up until I had, I think it was like 88 stitches, and then I just decreased at like the last stitch of every row. And then I followed I'm blanking on the name now, the Stella Quilt like pillow. I followed how you pick up for the back, which is really just German short rows. So I did that to pick up the back so I wouldn't have to sew like 4 sides. And then you're left with a top here that you put the stuffing in, and then I'll just sew it across the top. But yeah, I just realized this is going to be an extremely long video, sorry. Yeah, so I'm very excited to get this finished. It's going to be so soft to just keep on my bed. I'm hoping to sleep on it. I think my dog is going to take over because he has already been interested in lying on it when I had it on the floor. But yeah, I finished this. I knit this on 5mm needles, I believe. And yeah, that's all for this. It's almost finished. I was really disappointed last night that I didn't get to completely finish it, but what can you do? Alright, so my last finished objects are also kind of a work in progress. So I've been making dishcloths. I've recently gotten back into reading, and I have a book stand so that I can set my book up, and now I learned how to knit and read. So I've been working on dishcloths for a half hour in the morning while I read a half hour of my book. So I have one of these finished. The dishcloth pattern that I use, I will have linked down below, like always. But I am using this color now. This is the Burnett Handicrafter 100% cotton, and this is in the shade By the Sea. So I finished one. I cast on 4 stitches, and then I increase until I have 47, and then I decrease down to 4. And then this is the other one I'm currently working on. I am making these to sell, so I work on them for a half hour in the morning. If I don't get outside to go for a walk and I go on my treadmill, I also try to work on these. So I am selling my dishcloths in a bundle of 2 for $5. And yeah, so that's kind of just what I make them for. I personally like making dishcloths, and I like having them there, and they're perfect for gifts, so I'm trying to build up my pile again. And I'm also selling them. So that is those. I did finish a couple more of the Coral Seas, I think it was called, one that I showed in my last podcast, but I didn't bring those down just because it was kind of repetitive, and once you see a dishcloth, you can just imagine I've done all of them the same. So that was, yeah, that's that. I also don't have here, but I finished some pot holders. If you want to, I'm not going to go into detail here. In my very first episode, I think it was just my first episode. Maybe my last episode too, I might have made a couple. But I had all the information for the pot holders, how I made them, and I did them. I don't even remember what color they were. I don't have the yarn anymore. They're long gone. I made them for an order for somebody back at the beginning of May. So, and I forgot to take pictures of it. I didn't even put it on my Instagram. But that's okay. So that's all the finished objects that I have. Now I'm going to get into works in progress. And I just want to preface this by saying it's pretty much all socks. And I think for maybe in the next podcast, you're pretty much only going to see socks. And that's for 2 reasons. One, it is Summer Sock Camp. So Summer Sock Camp is a sock knitting make-along that is hosted by Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady every year. And this year, I'm actually fully participating. I want to make my socks and then post them to the Ravelry thread. In the past years, I have just kind of like watched videos and knit along to it, but I haven't really posted in the Ravelry thread, and mostly because I was just lazy and I don't use Ravelry that much. But this year she has a Ravelry thread open to post your finished objects, and also you can tag her on Instagram and use the hashtag SummerSockCamp2024. So I'm starting to make socks for those. The silk socks that I showed you and the wooded denim socks that I showed are the first 2 that I posted in the thread, because you could have like whips going in, and I had maybe like half of one sock of each done at the beginning of, I think it started May 24th or something like that. So I finished those, posted them in the Ravelry thread, and I've started some more socks. So that's one reason you're going to see a lot of socks. And the second reason is I have so much sock yarn, and I decided I'm going to knit a bunch of pairs of socks in various sizes. I have a Facebook group. It is Handmade by Maddie, if you want to go request to join my Facebook group. I put up a poll to see, the average foot size, so that I knew kind of what to knit and if anyone would be interested in purchasing hand knit socks. So I'm going to knit up a bunch, mostly size like 7, 8, 8.5, 9 in ladies, with the sock yarn that I have. And also I'm going to post them in Summer Sock Camp as long as it's going on. And I also got an order for 3 pairs of socks. So I have 2 more that I'm going to be working on to go with the order that goes with the wooded denim socks. So I have 2 more pairs of socks to make. And one I've already started, which is what I'm going to talk about first. Okay, so my first work in progress sock related is are these socks, and this yarn is just opal sock yarn, and it's just in the shade black. So these are for the order. Like I mentioned, I cast on 72 stitches. I've done 20 rounds of knit 2 purl 2 for the ribbing. I did 60 rounds for the leg, slip stitch heel flap. It's kind of hard to see because it's black, but I'm actually kind of obsessed with this black color because it's more of like a dark charcoal gray. It's not like a solid like midnight black. And it has like kind of specks of lighter gray within it, so I really like that. And I literally, before I came down to film this, I just picked up the gusset stitches. I haven't even done the first decrease round, so this is the first sock, and yeah, this is the yarn. Again, like I said, it's just opal sock yarn in the shade black, and I'm doing these on 2.25 millimeter 9-inch circulars, following the vanilla sock pattern by the Crazy Sock Lady. And the opal sock yarn is a 75% superwash and 25% polyamide blend. Okay, the next pair of socks that I'm making are kind of just to fit in with the summer sock camp knit along, and to me it kind of fits the summer theme. So my birthday is June 11th, and I went to the yarn store when I had to pick up the dark opal yarn and another one that I'm going to show you. But I picked this up as well. I've never seen this sock brand before, and this color, you guys, it is just so good. So this is the Universal Yarn Easel wool. It is a 75% superwash wool and 25% polyamide. I've never seen this brand before, but it is so, so soft. And this is in the shade Quiet Time. And I'm not very far in these. This is how far I've gotten. So I did 20 rounds for the cuff, maybe. Yeah, I think I did 20 rounds for the cuff. I'm going to do 60 rounds for the leg, but this is as far as I've gotten. And again, just following the vanilla sock pattern on 9-inch circulars by the Crazy Sock Lady. I'm really on a 9-inch circular kick right now, so these again are 2.25 millimeter 9-inch circulars. My third sock work in progress, I haven't done that much on. I'm literally in the middle of a row here. I cast these on probably the beginning of May, and this is June 2nd, and this is all I have done with the first sock. I haven't really picked this up just because there's a pattern to it. I was focused on getting those socks done for the order, and I'm focusing on 2 more pairs that I need to make. So I did the cuff. The cuff is just opal yarn in the shade white. And then this main color is, it's more greenish. It's showing up more blue, showing up really blue on the camera. But it's more like a teal green in real life. But it's West Yorkshire Spinners in the shade Blue Raspberry. Blue is in the name, but to me, this is a teal color. You're going to call me crazy because it's showing up blue on the camera, but it's a teal color, trust me. I am knitting a pattern that I have in one of my sock knitting books. It doesn't have a name to it. To me, it looks kind of like a waffle stitch, but all you do, so I cast on 72 stitches with this one. I think I had to increase by like 2 or 3 stitches. I don't really remember the count. So the pattern is you knit 4, purl 1 all the way around, and then you knit 3, purl 2 all the way around, and then you knit 2, purl 3 all the way around, and then you knit 1, purl 4 all the way around, and those are the 4 rows that make up the pattern. It is beautiful, squishy, and these are another pair that I'm gonna make for summer sock camp and also to sell, but these are kind of taking a back burner while I work on the socks that I have for orders. And then I'll probably focus on this one and keep my multicolored socks that I just showed you for like easy knitting to take around when I go places. But yeah, it's been the black socks for like recently when I've been going out. But yeah, so I think that's all I had to say about this one. I just wanted to mention that West Yorkshire Spinners is a 75% wool, 25% nylon blend, and I am knitting these on 2.25 millimeter, 32 inch circular needles using the magic loop method. Yeah, and I believe I mentioned that this was the West Yorkshire Spinners signature 4-ply. So yeah, that's all I have to say about those. I hope the lighting is not getting weird because it is such a dull day outside and it's currently 3:30 and I feel like the sun that was out is going behind the clouds. So I hope that the lighting is not getting thrown off. I'm very sorry if it is. Okay, so my next work in progress is actually a long-term work in progress. I started this last summer and then I probably didn't touch it after September, but it is a Christmas blanket. It's a kit that I bought online. It's a Christmas blanket from West Yorkshire Spinners, and it is the Fair Isle Festive Blanket by Jenny Watson. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you a picture. So this is what it's going to look like. It's an absolutely stunning knit blanket. Fair Isle knitting, colorwork. A bit not taunting, but a bit, what's the word I'm looking for? A bit intimidating. But I have to say it's actually not that bad. So I'm going to show you what I have done so far. I have a stitch marker on here. So from the day I filmed my last podcast episode, this is the first time I'm showing it because I didn't really work on it. But when I picked it back up, since I finished my last podcast episode, this is the progress I have made on it. So from this stitch marker up. So I have done a fair bit. This is a gigantic blanket. There's over 300 stitches in each row. So I set myself a goal to do 2 rows on this blanket each day. I started at the beginning of May. I can't say I've done 2 rows every day. It kind of depends on how my day looks, but a majority of days, as you can see, I've done 2 rows. So there's not much to say about this, other than I wanted to show you where I am now so that we can track progress. So this uses the Croft 100% Shetland yarn, and there's 3 colors, the white, green, and red. So this is 100% Shetland wool. So the green color is called Stanny Dale. They have really strange names. The red is called Reawick, and the white is Salam. I'm not quite sure. But I don't know if you can notice, but when I was knitting it, I've messed up on the middle here. I think there's a few you can't really tell, but it's kind of off. And I didn't quite realize it until I was almost finished. Like, this one is almost perfect, and then you can see they're kind of like skewed a bit. To me, you can't really notice it unless you're looking. The next motif that I do of that one, I'm going to try and make sure I do it right, but I didn't want to have to rip back all my rows. And to me, it doesn't really matter. You're not really going to notice it in the grand scheme of the blanket. Also, there's this Christmas tree motif down here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's so cute. And that is the next motif. I think I have one more motif I need to do after the one that I just did, which is little hearts. And then we'll be back to the Christmas tree, repeating this pattern. I'm absolutely in love, and I'm so impressed with myself because this looks so complicated and tricky, and it just looks so professional and good, but it doesn't take like that much willpower. Once you memorize I think it's like a 22 stitch repeat, but really for every row you're kind of just repeating the same pattern of stitches, so you catch on pretty quickly. And I find doing 2 rows a day, I've made a lot of progress. As you can see, I've done 2 entire motifs and half of one. I want to set my goal to have it finished for this Christmas. However, I don't know if that's going to happen. This summer, I do have a lot of knitting time, and I can do my 2 rows in a day. But even so, that's only going to be for the next like 2 or 3 months. And once I get back in school, I'm not going to have time to commit to doing 2 rows a day. And when I do have knitting time, which is very limited, I'm not going to want to have to do something that's going to require a lot of brain power. So unfortunately, I mean, never say never. It's only June. I don't think it's going to be finished for this Christmas, but it'll be nice to work on the Christmas season, and I'm hoping to have it finished like February of next year. Like, I want to have it ready for not this Christmas coming, but the next Christmas, and hopefully it'll be nice to work on during the Christmas season. So like, even when I get out of school, we have usually like a week or two before Christmas. It'll be nice to work on. But again, I'm not putting any pressure on myself. It's just a fun little Christmas activity, and yeah, I'm gonna try and get as much as I can done this summer, as much progress as I can get done on it, and then maybe we'll have it finished for Christmas. We're gonna have to see how the year goes. But yeah, so that was it was my last work in progress. I'm going to show you my crochet granny stripe blanket. Okay, so I'm gonna show you my crochet granny stripe blanket. But in all honesty, I haven't done that much on it in the last like 2 months. So there's not that much to show. I will show you the magic knot ball that I'm working from. That's what it looks like. Just leftover sock yarn. So I'm using a 3mm crochet hook. So yeah, this is what it looks like. Let me see if I can find my stitch marker. I know I haven't done that much progress since my last episode because I think I only worked on it like one night. It's very fun to work on. I've just had so many other things to do. Yeah, like this is where I was the last episode. I probably got like 3 rows done. I'm probably not going to work on this for another little while. I just haven't been in the scrappy blanket mood. I wanted to get back into scrappy Sundays, but you know, schedules change and I've had orders and stuff, so that's fine. I work on this when I want to work on it, and like that's enough for me. That's enough to make me happy. I just don't have that much progress to show, so I don't know if you're gonna see this for a little while, but I will put the stitch marker there, and then when I have enough progress to show, I will show it again. But yeah. So that is everything I've been working on in the month of May. This is already longer than all of my videos that I've had, but I did want to show you 2 yarns that I bought that one I'm going to make socks on and the other was the sweater I was talking about. Okay, so this is another sock yarn that I bought to make the last pair of socks for the order. So this is the opal yarn in the shade Camel, and that's just what it looks like. And again, this is the 75% wool, 25% polyamide. So yeah, that's the opal yarn. We're gonna make socks with those. I'm not sure if I'm gonna put a pattern in these or just do vanilla socks. I haven't decided yet. We'll have to see. My goal, they want them for the middle of July, so my goal is to have them finished and shipped by like June 25th. That's my goal. And then the yarn for my sweater. So I was on Marketplace and I saw this wool for a wonderful deal. So this lady paid $32 plus tax plus shipping for this yarn, and she was selling 5 skeins for $120. I justified this purchase by saying that it was my birthday present to myself. So this is the Julie Aslin yarn. It's a 90% superwash merino, 10% silk. It's 115 gram skein or 260 yards, and it's in the shade Momo. So it is a bit pinker, not as corally as it's showing up on the screen, but this is the color sweater that I'm thinking of making myself next. I haven't decided, like, I want to do the same sweater, just like obviously size up, but I was also thinking of doing like a cardigan, but I think I'm gonna get more wear out of a sweater than I would a cardigan, so I think that's what I'm gonna end up doing. I just wanted to show that on my podcast because I've been watching a lot more knitting podcasts lately, and a lot of people show the yarn that they have and talk about the stuff that they're hoping to make with it. So I thought I would do that. That's the only new yarn that I've acquired this month. And other than that, I don't really have much to say. Life stuff. Not much, really. It's summer. I'm finished nursing school. I can't remember the last time I filmed my podcast, if I was finished my clinicals, like just finished my clinicals, or if I was about to finish them. I think I was finished, so I finished those like May 5th or 3rd or something like that. And since then it's been summer. I am taking 3 courses. It's not too bad. It's a lot of like busy work, but I find if I plan my days, I can still get quite a bit of knitting time in, which obviously is the goal. It's summer. But yeah. So that's all I really have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing. Check out my Instagram. I'll have it linked down below. You can also check out my TikTok. I post there sometimes, not as much as I should. Every time I say check out my TikTok, I say, oh, I'm going to post more there, and then I never do. But who knows, maybe this time I will. So, yeah, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and it really helps me out, and I'll see you in my next video.